Hello, good weekend to all. This is a review for the FTSE 100 for Monday's trading session, the 23rd of November 2020. Be sure to visit my website, www.inter-market-analysis.com. It's finally up and running now. Hopefully that's been resolved. Okay, be sure to check out the services that I have on offer, which again is a live trading service where I share my trade setups in real time, entry, exit, and I also provide my market commentary and charting setups real time via the WhatsApp service as well. For those that want to join, it's a 1 month free service for all, and obviously if you wish to continue you can certainly do so. Also obviously my website, I tend to post my charts. I will start be looking into equities as well, which I've always done, but I've kept that private, so I'll start to potentially share some trade setups there as well. One of the recent trade setups was the long on BP, which returned a 18% return. Okay, so that's something I'll certainly be sharing going forward as well. I'll also start to do a US market wrap up as well going forward. At the moment it's just strictly obviously FTSE related, but I'll certainly try to include the European markets into my analysis as well. And again, I will certainly try and keep these as brief as possible. In the meantime, like I said, be sure to follow my Twitter handle. You can certainly obviously already following me on YouTube. Be sure to share that with your trading buddies, and also obviously my website there as well. Okay, let's get started. In terms of the actual fundamentals then, so the bullish scenario going into Monday, we've got this emergency vaccine euphoria first and foremost. Okay, that's basically the focus that the market's been on, hence the reason why the FTSE 100 certainly has rallied quite considerably. As you can see here, the FTSE itself, we did go to gap fill, but I'll discuss that shortly in terms of the 10-minute chart. But again, the FTSE rally based on the vaccine euphoria. Now, over the weekend, the FDA grants emergency use for authorization to Regeneron, and also obviously Mr. Mr. Hancock has been talking up the Pfizer vaccine as well, potentially being ready for December the 12th. So bear that in mind. Okay, so again, there's been a lot of talk over the weekend about COVID passports. Okay, individuals that have the potential vaccine and are injected that have the ability to obviously roam freely and work freely as well, which obviously in turn helps a lot of the equity markets to a large extent, so bear that in mind. Obviously that's the reason why we've seen this massive rally from the 500 level up to 6500, and a lot of the news certainly is baked into the cake as well, so don't get too excited from that perspective. In terms of the COVID rules being eased as well on the 2nd December, so again, concerns that they may extend the COVID regulations in terms of free movement. Again, and obviously with regards to shops, in terms of essential services, so non-essential services will be allowed to open, obviously back onto the multi-tiered system, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And again, that certainly can only be bullish from a large perspective or going forward. In terms of the actual numbers are certainly starting to drop as well. The number of deaths have dropped as well, and also the infection rates are dropping, so that's certainly good news as well. Okay, and in terms of Mr. Rishi Sunak this week, he's going to be talking his budget. Okay, and there certainly is no signs of austerity measures there. He's actually going to be increasing public spending, which again is bullish for the market. Again, also we've got UK retail sales that came out last week, certainly came in stronger than expected, so again helping the FTSE, hence the reason why we had this rally on the 10-minute chart. If you can look at the bring up the 10-minute chart for you, as you can see, we initially pushed lower, then obviously market pushed higher into gap fill before it started to reverse on the back of obviously weaker US data, okay, or weaker US markets. And then we've got the trade deal with Canada post Brexit as well, so that certainly is helping to a large extent. The only downside really at this very moment in time is the fact that one, bullish news is certainly baked into the cake, and number two, the virus cases globally, especially US, are certainly starting to increase. From what I understand, I think 20% of the global COVID cases are in the US. It certainly seems to be an epicenter of verbal garbage, and now it's physical garbage, unfortunately. So that's the situation right now with regards to COVID. Very unhealthy individuals, mismanaged from the start with regards to Mr. Trump. Certainly a total failure there. Okay, and hence the reason why they are in the situation they are at present. Okay, so let's have a look here then in terms of the markets. Okay, so understood. Okay, so let's give you a technical insight. Okay, so weekly chart I've already highlighted in terms of FTSE 100. We're into the resistance here at 64 90, where previous support equals resistance and not previous horizontal resistance. So there's no real catalyst for the market to certainly take out that key resistance zone. Okay, and that obviously is supported by the move in the FTSE 250. Okay, so we've got a fib 75% retracement, certainly topping out there on this whole sell-off, given the pandemic sell-off, as you can see here, on the 22,000 level down to 13,000, and obviously retraced 75%. Now, as we all know, the 75% is a golden mean. Okay, so bear that in mind from a technical analysis worldview. Okay, in terms of the FTSE 350, again, as you can see, horizontal resistance, previous support equals resistance. Okay, so again, there is also possibility that we could potentially break higher. Now, from my perspective, in terms of intermarket analysis, I always cross-reference my trades with the FTSE 100 and with the FTSE 250 and the FTSE 350 to get a wholesome and a perspective and obviously a bird's eye view on the market, given the fact that any potential false signal is given, the margin for error is certainly reduced from that perspective. Also, I cross-reference based on intermarket analysis as well the price of oil. So as you can see here, the FTSE has risen with the rise in Brent. Okay, so it's no coincidence. The FTSE is a commodity index, hence the reason why the FTSE certainly has rallied to a large extent, along with the CAC 40 as well, which I'll discuss shortly. Okay, so FTSE certainly coming into Brent certainly coming into resistance. That was the previous pivot high in November. Okay, and let's see if we can certainly surpass that. Currently approaching that 45 to 45.3 handle. Certainly looking for exhaustion here on this move higher. Obviously, vaccine euphoria certainly supported this. Also, the news regarding Boeing as well, the recertification of Boeing, that's helping the Dow transports, and obviously given the fact that the vaccine, obviously euphoria is there, again demand picking up, etc, etc, and hence oil prices certainly pushing higher as well on the back of this vaccine, obviously factoring that in terms of the future. Okay, now FTSE oil and gas is at a critical juncture here, certainly into resistance. Also watch the chart of BP and watch the chart of Shell as well. I should actually technically have the chart of BP open here, so one second, let me just quickly bring that into the equation. So again, I do apologize for this video being longer than expected, given the fact that it is the weekend. Okay, so we can afford to be longer than expected. Now, this is my technical setup on BP. Now, this was a screaming buy from my perspective. Again, obviously, I wasn't aware, obviously, with regards to vaccine euphoria, but in terms of just a technical exhaustion, the downside, as we can see here, the market extremely oversold. It was more of a long-term play, but obviously it was a nice return regardless. So, as you can see here, we've retraced quite substantially now. Certainly expecting some exhaustion here. Okay, in terms of BP, looking for a retracement, which in turn obviously sends the FTSE 100 lower as well. Now, given the fact that there has been a lot of bullish news over the weekend, and obviously with regards to the COVID restrictions being laxed from the 2nd December, they're not obviously extending that, as opposed to Germany, which is actually thinking of extending them. Therefore, the FTSE is more bullish than the German index. Okay, so as you can see here, from BP's perspective, like I said, looking for a flush now. And again, I will be a buyer of BP, so just letting you know in advance. I think there's a lot of positive signals coming from BP in terms of clean energy, in terms of diversifying as well. So certainly look into that. And again, any retracement on this, I'll certainly share this on my site. But technically speaking, any retrace down to 222, 10, 200, from my perspective, is certainly going to be a buying opportunity. And I'm looking for a potential move higher to 310 and potentially gap fill in terms of long-term movement. And then obviously you've got the ultimate gap fill at 370. So there's a lot of potential here with regards to a BP going forward. Okay, anyway, I'm digressing here, so let's get back onto where we should be. Okay, in terms of the FTSE personal and household goods, certainly coming into resistance here. Again, it certainly has been helped with regards to the vaccine, so a lot of the obviously bullish news has been baked in. Financial services into resistance, so watch out there. In terms of a flush, UK banking services, again, a banking index certainly into resistance, so again, watch out for a flush. So there's a lot of argument here, though. There's a very strong argument here for the markets to reverse. Bullish news certainly has been priced to perfection according to my estimation. Okay, so I think that's a good summation there in terms of the overall fundamental perspective and obviously into market analysis perspective. Let's move to the micro scale now. So as you can see on the daily chart, it was a bull flag here. We consolidated, we rallied. Again, we've tried to consolidate in terms of this bull flag. This candle is in control on the 16th of November, inside bar. As you can see here, markets consolidating within that candle. From my perspective, it will be a fail bull flag, so a potential continuation up to 6508, 6480. Very unlikely. Having said that though, we have had a lot of bullish news over the weekend, so we potentially could get a gap higher and a run to 6500. At that level, I will potentially look to short the FTSE. Any pop on the FTSE, certainly happy to short and look for a flush lower. Now, the US markets did actually close very, very weak on Friday. Okay, and there was a potential head and shoulders formation there as well, which I've highlighted on my Twitter feed, so watch out for that potential move. In terms of the 60-minute chart on the FTSE then, so again, H&S formation, very similar to the S&P 500. Okay, so keep an eye on that in terms of any bearish news. So from my perspective, given the fact that the FTSE's had a spectacular run from 5,500, a lot of the bullish news certainly is baked in, so obviously buying the rumour, selling the news type event could potentially trigger this sell-off as well. Okay, so watch out below in terms of the 60-minute chart. Again, this isn't some sort of prophecy. I'm not saying that this is exactly what's going to happen. If the FTSE obviously breaks 6463, or if it goes above the Fib 75% handle, which is around 6430, obviously the situation or scenario with regards to the H&S formation is invalidated. An invalidated bearish pattern triggers a powerful short squeeze, which again could cause the market, or potentially will cause the market to push even higher, potentially test that 6500 zone. So again, trade what you see, folks. Okay, from my perspective, again, fundamentals will dictate. The FTSE itself, as you can see here on Friday, gap lower, pushed higher into gap fill, sold off, went back to neutrality. Okay, the central pivot where it started, and basically closed around the 6350 zone. So any potential pop higher at 6385, 6395 is a key resistance zone. If you do push higher, then you are looking at gap fill 6420, resistance above at 6440, and then you got key resistance above at 6460. In terms of the flush lower, given the fact the US indices were certainly weak on Friday, you've got support at 6317, and then support is seen also at 6310. And then if we crack lower, you are looking at 6290. Any potential move below then obviously would trigger the H&S formation. As you can see, bear flag formation on the FTSE 100, the key support being 6180. Okay, previous resistance equals support around the 6130 zone, watch out below there. And then you've got potential support at 6040, and ultimately that's 5940. So a lot of potential scenarios here. So again, trade what you see, follow your own, obviously, methodology. This is just my insight. At the end of the day, my insight is irrelevant, really. I'm just another trader out there that has its own strategy. And at the end of the day, it's all about trade management, risk management, and obviously adhering to your own, shall we say, risk tolerance, and obviously your own trading strategy at the end of the day. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just giving you my insight, my input, my analysis. Hopefully that will help you in your trading journey and your trading day going into Monday. Be sure, like I said, to contact me if you have any queries. Happy to reply, folks. So it's if you want to email me, it's daytrader@inter-market-analysis.com. You can certainly email me that way, or alternatively contact me via Twitter. You can certainly DM me there. Okay, and happy to help. And wish you the best. And wish you the best for Monday's trading. Goodbye now.